Donald Trump is in an all-out panic right now because his big, beautiful bag of garbage bill is on the verge of collapse. Not only because another Republican senator has come out against it, but Elon Musk has reemerged in the civil war, has reignited. It is all going poorly for Donald Trump, and of course we are going to get into it. But before we do, I want to start with someone who delivered the perfect call-out of this budget. That was Senator Chris Murphy, taking it to task and calling out all of the MAGA lies right here.
The Republican budget bill throws 15 million people off of their health care. It makes $800 billion of cuts to Medicaid. That's the program that insures 24% of Americans. But when the cameras are on, Republicans say the craziest shit. They actually say they aren't cutting Medicaid. They lie through their teeth, and they think that they can get away with it. Here's the Speaker of the House just the other day.
We are not cutting Medicaid. The President has said that, and I've said that. We've all said that. We are strengthening the program.
He's trying to tell you that they're not cutting Medicaid. The bill they wrote cuts $800 billion out of Medicaid. But here's the thing. Behind closed doors, they are openly acknowledging that they are going to be throwing millions of people off of Medicaid. Here's a screenshot of a flyer that Senator Thom Tillis was handing out to Republicans in their closed-door meetings. You can see it right there. He says that 600,000 people in his state of North Carolina are going to lose health care. That's a cataclysm. If overnight 600,000 people in North Carolina just have no health care any longer, they know it. And behind closed doors, they talk about it. When the cameras are on, they pretend that, oh, we're just focusing on waste and fraud. You know, nobody's going to really lose their health care. But behind closed doors, they're stating what is true. If they pass this bill, they are going to create misery in this country because 15 million people are going to lose their health care.
That figure of hundreds of billions of dollars is so important to give specific attention to, not only because it is the reason we have another Republican senator pledging to vote against Donald Trump's budget, but because it doesn't just represent the millions of people who will lose their health care, but the hospitals that will close across the country. It's the reason Senator Murphy has now started speaking about the slush fund that MAGA Republicans have put together for specifically red states who will see Medicaid cuts affect them the most. They want to make sure their hospitals can stay open, these Republicans voting for this bill, but they don't care about us. They are literally weaponizing health care to make sure that people in blue states suffer. That is what is happening right now, and it's why I'm surprised that Republicans are actually standing up to it, because usually they like that. But Thom Tillis has made it clear, and he's voting against this bill. Then, of course, we are going to get into Elon.
I think that the Medicaid cuts are directionally right, but I think very difficult for the states to absorb. And we've just got to figure out a way to achieve what we're trying to do, bend the curve.
But right now, this could have a big negative impact on North Carolina.
Well,
the Medicaid cuts.
I think current estimates are about $38 billion over 10 years. That's a big impact.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody believes that the current text is final, so I don't believe anybody would vote for it in its current form. We've got a lot of things that we're working on.
In a piece of breaking news just now, Republican Senator Thom Tillis of North Carolina said in a statement Saturday that he will vote against the GOP mega bill, absent changes to Medicaid that GOP leaders have not so far been willing to make. I did my homework on behalf of North Carolinians, and I cannot accept this bill in its current form, said Tillis, who is up for re-election next year. It would result in tens of billions of dollars in lost funding for North Carolina, including our hospitals and rural communities. This will force the state to make painful decisions like eliminating Medicaid coverage for hundreds of thousands in the expansion population and even reducing critical services for those in the traditional Medicaid population. Thom Tillis is now the third Republican senator, along with Rand Paul and Ron Johnson, to say that they will oppose this bill. And it's crazy that it's just them, because we've heard Josh Hawley speak out against the damage that will be done by these Medicaid cuts, and he's called it an abomination. And he's still voting for the bill. These people have absolutely no shame. And that's why Elon has reinserted himself into the conversation. He certainly has no shame. This isn't about Medicaid cuts for Elon. This is about his own personal grievance. But now he's attacking Trump again as this all blows up in his face. And I want to take a look at Elon just now posted the latest Senate draft bill will destroy millions of jobs in America and cause immense strategic harm to our country, utterly insane and destructive. It gives handouts to industries of the past while severely damaging industries of the future. So, of course, Elon's mad that he's not getting another big check. What a shock that is. But nothing, Elon, on the Medicaid cuts, nothing on the people losing their health care, nothing on the hospitals closing. And that's why I hate to say, like, I agree with Elon. And that's, of course, the framing, it's kind of funny. I guess we're kind of, joking about it a little bit. But no, Elon agrees with us. I don't want to say that we agree with him because he doesn't actually care. This is a very selfish and self-serving stance that he is trying to take right now. One, clearly Donald Trump has not been happy with. He's also really not been happy with the Republicans voting against his budget. He made an insane post about it recently, begging for everyone to support the bill, and we can see that right here. Trump wrote, "The great Republicans in the U.S. Senate are working all weekend to finish our one big beautiful bill. We are on the precipice of delivering massive general tax cuts, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our seniors, permanently securing our borders, an even bigger and more powerful military than I had in my first term, unleashing our American economy, dominating the energy market, creating jobs, and getting money back to American families. The House of Representatives must be ready to send it to my desk before July 4th. We can get it done now. It was a wonderful celebration for our country, which right now is the hottest country anywhere in the world, and it just continues to go downhill like that." Most of those things, those policy points that Donald Trump outlined, by the way, they're not actually in the bill, and he doesn't really seem to care about that. They're lying about what's in it. They're lying about what's not. This is no surprise. And of course, we saw Senator Murphy rip apart the Medicaid cuts, but he really went after everything in the bill in a more brutal takedown right here.
Well, Tim, thank you very much. And thanks to you and your staff for taking the lead on putting this very important hearing together. Thank you to all of our panelists, to all of our guests for being here. You are speaking truth to power. That's the best of America when we stand up to those that are in our government, are in positions of authority, who are trying to take from the dispossessed, from the most powerless in our country. We call this bill a betrayal, and Tim said it correctly, because to us this is a betrayal of our fundamental responsibility as public servants. We are supposed to create a world in which everyone has a shot at the American dream, in which everybody, if they work hard and play by the rules, have a chance at economic mobility, have a chance to do well for themselves, but also for their children. And so that means looking at the folks who are at the lower rungs of the economic scale and making sure that you are putting them in a position to succeed. And we know for far too many working Americans, for folks that are making the minimum wage or just above the minimum wage, right now, they view this economy as rigged, as working against them every single day of the week. And why this bill feels like a betrayal is because, as written, it makes life infinitely harder for the very people that we are supposed to be fighting hardest for, the people who are working every day, playing by the rules, often dealing with traumas and difficult life circumstances. And for what? In order to enrich at disgusting new levels the folks who life has treated pretty well, the people at the very, very top of our income pyramid. Depending on how you cut the analysis, the percentage of Americans who are going to lose money differs, but it's an extraordinary number of low-income and middle-income Americans. Upwards of 40% of all American households, if this bill is implemented, will be poorer because of it. Well, the very rich and the very affluent will be much richer. The very richest families in this country will get an average $270,000 tax cut because of this bill. Most families in this country can't imagine what it's like to live on $270,000 for a year, and yet that's the new amount of money that will be coming into families at the toppest end of our income pyramid. So this feels like a betrayal of our responsibility, which is why we're using these spotlight hearings to just uncover and unpack what the real world impact is on families, to take one last shot at convincing our Republican colleagues to, at the very least, make changes so that lives are spared. And let's just be honest, when you're talking about almost $1 trillion in Medicaid cuts, when you're talking about throwing upwards of 16 million people off of their health care, you are talking about life and death stakes. This isn't just about impacting the quality of someone's life. This is about ending people's lives. One research estimate is that 42,000 lives could be lost each year because of the disenrollments in Medicare and the marketplace coverage. Just to give you a sense as we turn to our witnesses of the scope of this, because I know the numbers we throw around are kind of hard to understand. What does $1 trillion of cuts look like? What does it mean if 16 million people lose their health care? If 16 million people lose their health care, that's the equivalent population of the entire population of Idaho, West Virginia, Hawaii, New Hampshire, Maine, Montana, Rhode Island, Delaware, South Dakota, North Dakota, Alaska, Washington, D.C., Vermont, and Wyoming combined. That is a healthcare cataclysm. And that doesn't happen without the impact being so significantly deep, even on those people who still retain care. Because the estimate also suggests that because of all of this withdrawal of money out of the system, especially the system that supports care for folks on the margins of our economy, up to 340 rural hospitals could close. 33 hospitals in Louisiana could close. 35 hospitals in Kentucky could close. 40% of the rural hospital capacity in Alaska could disappear if this bill is passed. So even if you keep your coverage, even if you are lucky enough not to be one of the people that are thrown off their care, your life could be impacted because your ability to get your loved one to an emergency room when you need it could disappear. So I want to thank Tim. I want to thank my colleagues who are going to arrive as you give your testimony for the questions that they will ask. We literally just moments ago got a new updated Congressional Budget Office analysis, and the news doesn't get better, Senator Kaine. It just keeps on getting worse. This new analysis says that the deficit impact on the country will be even bigger, now looking at $3.7 trillion in additional deficits, that the bill is going to increase interest rates. So on top of the fact that you're going to lose your health care, you're going to lose your nutrition benefits, you're going to watch the rich get richer, you're also going to pay more to get into that first house, to be able to borrow to put your kid through college. This is a really important hearing, and I'm looking forward to the witnesses helping us to tell the story of what's going to happen on the ground.
We have the opportunity to kill this bill. This has not been decided. We can flip a Republican. It can happen. The public pressure campaign needs to continue. We're going to be a part of that on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.